Alright. So I kind of have an interesting topic to go about today. Because I had an idea of what I would be talking about, but life has a way of writing itself in such a poetic manner that I can't even make the shit up. So my coworker asked me yesterday. Well, but basically he explained to me why he thought evil isn't real. It's just a perception of your mind. It's mainly just driven by fear, which is what causes a lot of people to think something is, evil, or or it's the system that dictates it or whatever, right? And I told him, no, that's false. Because you can't really sit there and say there's no evil, because basically you're saying, well, inversely, that means that there's no good. If there's no evil, that means there's no good. Just like yin and yang, you can't have one without the other. Light and darkness, they go hand in hand. Even if, right, let's say, alright, people are not inherently bad. We aren't inherently evil. Why? Because we're the children of God. Alright, cool. Because he wanted to go about he wanted to go the route of oh, trauma, they didn't know. No, that's not how trauma works, unfortunately. Trauma works this way, right? Regardless of what everyone thinks. Trauma is there within a good amount of us. It's either buried deep, so we have to do what in order to get to the crux of the issue? We have to do self-reflection, and we have to hold ourselves accountable for decisions that we make, right? So his whole thing was, oh, there was a story about this dude that went and raped and killed his own kids and whatnot, but he was also abused when he was younger. So I can't really sit there and say that he's evil because of that. I'm like, knowing how I am now, I'm like, okay, I can understand why you would believe that, why you would think that. But no, that's evil, regardless. Because at the end of the day, if he was abused the same way that he abused his own children, then he knows the exact pain and torment that he went through. And the exact pain and torment that he went through is what he's inflicting on his children. So you're gonna sit there and tell me that that's not evil, that you wanted to, instead of stopping the chain of pain and torment, you decide to keep that chain going. That's what you chose to do. Now we can go the whole route of, oh, it's trauma, he didn't know. No, you know what it is. You choose not to go the hard route and confront it. That's what that is. You see, and a lot of people don't understand this, but peep game. I had a friend years ago, right? I was either in my second or first year of high school. I had a friend, who lived a good distance away from me, right? She passed. Well, more or less, she was murdered. By whom, you may ask? Her own father, her own flesh and blood, the one man that she thought would never do something like that to her, right? So, what happened was, he was having a discrepancy with his wife. And somehow, my friend got involved. Now, according to my co-worker's logic, his actions were not evil. Why? Because that might have been some type of trauma or whatever. False. Regardless of the stature, regardless of the situation, those actions portrayed are still evil. That may not necessarily make that man evil, but however, the seeds of evil were planted, and thus they bared fruit, thus making him an evil individual because of what he did. Because not only did he kill her, he then proceeded to kill himself after the fact, which means he was still in his right mind to sit there and be like, I don't want to be held responsible for this. In a way. So, with that being said, do I feel evil doesn't exist? No. Evil is very much alive. And the scary part is a lot of people are trying to normalize and make it acceptable for these evil and heinous actions. Because remember I said something about pedophilia in my last promo video, where people were trying to normalize it. Which is crazy because it goes full circle. Because my coworker also wanted to go ahead and point out, like, oh, well, back in the day, like, you know, they dated younger and da-da-da-da-da, right? Gotta understand. In those days, back in the day, times were extremely different. Yeah, and I mean, like, they were operating on different timing. Like, their life expectancy was lower than ours. Yeah, what I mean? And their values were a lot more traditional than what we got now. Because at that point in time, religion, discipline, morals, all of that was not really flushed down the toilet like it is today. Now anybody can sit there and be like, oh, well, rap, that's not true. Morals and all like that aren't down the toilet. Yeah, it is. You really can't sit there and tell me anything else. You know? So, evil is a real thing. Regardless of whether people want to be like, oh, it's just perception. Well, that's the whole entire world. That's the thing. Anything and everything that you do or partake in or whatever, your views on it are strictly based off of what? Your perception. Not everyone's gonna have the same perception of the world, and that's kind of what makes people unique in a way, is because a good amount of us can come from similar situations, but have different outlooks on shit. Because studies have been done where it's like people can come from an abusive household. You know what I mean? Two kids can come from an abusive household. One can go down a really good path, one not so much. Why is it that every single time conversations like this rear its head, that we don't want to hold people responsible or accountable for their choices and their actions? Like, that's the nasty shit I be talking about. And that's the nasty shit I want to get rid of. Because it makes no sense. Also, another thing. You know, and it also goes hand in hand with the whole, you know, oh, evil isn't a real thing, right? Peep game. I was looking at this video the other day, and it was talking about like all these different types of manipulation, right? And from a few ghosts of my past, right, which I have went and confronted, a lot of some of the manipulation tactics that were being described to me, you know, I was just like, yeah, this sounds very familiar. Now, you could be thinking, you know, what does that have to do with anything? Those with ill intentions or evil intent, as we could paint it, in this course of events. Only those who have insidious intentions would use manipulation in order to get what they want. Because why? Because they can use that to absolve themselves of any type of responsibility or accountability that they need to partake in. That's why they sit there and use others. Because why? Because they have some stuff that's going on that they haven't confronted, that they need to take care of. That's why they have so many insecurities and whatnot. And then it's like, you got to think about it. Why do you think most bullies do what they do? Because there's something going on at home or something else as well. But again, that does not excuse their actions. Just because bad things are being done to you does not mean that you should go ahead and continue that chain and proceed to do bad to others. Because why? Eventually, someone has to break the chain. Someone has to be the bigger and better man at the end of it. Because we sit here and continue this chain of pain and torment and anguish and whatnot, then yeah, you're fucking right. We're going to continue going down a dark, dastardly path, and no one's going to choose to get better. Which is why I sit here and tell people that you should do self-reflection. You should hold yourself accountable for the decisions that you do make. Because why? You need humility. Humility will make you humble. And if you become humble, guess what? You can become a better person. You can become a better human. That's why it's called being humble. Like, come on. Like, it writes itself. Now, it's like, I'm not trying to sit here and, like, try to be like, oh, yeah, I'm on the moral high ground because this, that, and the third. Like, no. If anything, I'm just trying to show you and share with you my views and perspectives on things. And that's what it is. This whole thing, life, it's a merry-go-round. It's about perception. All about perception. How you view it. Now, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, just because, you know what I mean? I believe in second chances, but it's like, you have to really show and be dedicated to the reformation in order to be deemed worthy of that second chance. Just like how you're supposed to earn respect. But a lot of people nowadays, they think they're supposed to just be given respect. I'm like, nah. Respect ain't given, it's earned, honey. And that's the matter with a lot of people. But that's all I got for today. But for those of you who stopped by, I do appreciate your time. I do wish you the best. We are going to continue moving forward on this journey, on this path of self-discipline, self-awareness, self-accountability, the pursuit of purpose. Because I definitely feel like I am on the right path of doing what I need to do. You know, but I appreciate each and every single one of you. So until next time, stay safe, stay golden, and shine bright, my stars. Ciao.